Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our March third Thursday of the month webinar. This week, we're really pleased to have on directors of some of our development districts, as well as a couple of them wear dual hats, and they also are directors of the human resource agencies. They're here to talk to us today about the important role development districts play in county and local government in Tennessee, as well as the human resource agencies and what all they do. I thought this would be and a lot of the mayors obviously are involved on the board of directors of these organizations, but particularly for county commissioners, thought this would be a great opportunity for you to learn more about these agencies and the resources and what they make available to your communities. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Chuck, if you want to get started and let you introduce other folks from there.
Yeah, well, thank you, David. My name is Chuck Hammonds. I'm the Executive Director of the Southeast Tennessee Development District. We serve 10 counties and 41 cities, mainly around the Chattanooga region. We also are unique in that we cross state lines. We have 3 counties in Georgia that we serve as well through an EDA process, Economic Development Administration from U.S. Department of Commerce. I thought we'd just give you a brief update of what a development district is, why we exist, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mark and to Melinda, who are here with me. They're my counterparts, both in Upper Cumberland with Mark and in Northwest Tennessee with Melinda. Just to give you the elevator speech, development districts or regional planning and economic organizations were owned and operated by the cities and counties in Tennessee. We were established by the legislature back in 1965 with the Tennessee Development District Act. We're supposed to provide the most effective and efficient means for cities and counties to organize and carry out general planning and economic development in their city, county, and even throughout their region. We, like David said, we are owned and operated by our local governments in our respective service territories. I have a full board, which is every elected city mayor or county mayor in my region. And then we are governed and policy is made by our executive committee, which is all 10 county mayors and a city mayor from each county as well, and then a couple of representatives in the legislative. We do general planning. I sent David some, and I'll pull them up. David, can I share on the screen?
Yeah, either that or I can pull them up.
Okay, I've already got them up right here.
Okay.
Let me share this menu of services. It sort of shows exactly what all we do. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And by what development district, okay? So EDA planning and project, and it tells you which development district does everything. We go into environment conservation. We have some brownfields redevelopment. Most of us have the aging component. We serve the area agency on aging and disability. We help with that, which would be Meals on Wheels, stuff like that. So this just gives you some idea of what we do. I know show you just a little bit, show you the map that we have. And I know, like I said, I sent all this to David, shows you where you are and what development district serves your area. Like I said, we're all just a little different. We all do some stuff a little bit stronger than others. And some of us don't even have, we don't even have the HRA. So just to give you an idea of what we accomplished last year, this is our 2022 impact report. Throughout the state, we put in Delta Regional Application or ARC grants totaling over $42 million on behalf of local governments. 75 community block grants benefiting 628,666 low to moderate income Tennesseans. And then on the back of this document, well, I thought it did. Nope, wrong document. We also, we talk about how to get in touch with everybody. So that's sort of what I had. Do y'all have any questions, or Mark and Melinda, please feel free to join in and explain and really bring it home and explain to them what we do, since I obviously did not.
I'll jump in and go next. Like I said, I'm Mark Farley with the Upper Cumberland Development District. Just sort of touching on some of the differences that we have. And that's the unique thing about the development districts. While we have uniformity across the state and many of the state and federal programs that we administer, we also are available to do extra stuff depending on what the elected leadership needs done in the particular region. Traditionally, over the last several years, we have built up a very large housing component, which I think we're really the only development district that maintains rental units. So we have roughly 400 rental units for seniors, disabled, certain demographic groups, migrant farm workers, those type of things. That was a need we had in the Upper Cumberland, and the leadership of the region over the last probably 15, 20 years said that needed to be an emphasis. So we started developing those. So we do have the flexibility to do some things that others are not doing. In fact, we were talking with my mayors this last week about potential projects where we could look at things regionally, helping them accomplish some regional goals that they have. So there is flexibility while there's a lot of uniformity across the way. Melinda, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think maybe the only thing that I could add to all of that is, and Chuck mentioned it, was the piece about the Area Agency on Aging and Disability. When you think about economic development, that's a big piece of it, their quality of life. And, that's a big driver in bringing people here that want to retire, and what we're doing for our senior network. That money flows through the Tennessee Commission on Aging and Disability to our agencies, and then we get that money out to all the senior centers and the Office on Aging, and the programs that we provide to seniors throughout our 9 counties is just so vital to their quality of life. So I just want you to keep in mind that piece too. A lot of times you will get calls, or you're at church or your neighbor or somebody is concerned about a senior citizen, and just, their questions usually are, I think that person needs a meal. I think that person can't take care of themselves. I mean, our agency is the agency to call. Start with us and let us help you navigate through that to help that person.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Most of our mayors, I'm not sure who all's on here currently or will be listening down the road. I know we do have at least one of the mayors I saw come on, and they're very familiar with our services. Many times, though, our county commissioners, our highway superintendents, other elected officials are not quite as familiar with what we do, but we're available. When we're working for the mayor, we're ultimately working for the county commission. So we're accomplishing many of the things that the county commission is making a goal in their community. Highway superintendents is another area we do quite a bit of work for here in the Upper Cumberland region. It sort of goes from election cycle to election cycle as far as how much they use us, but we do grant writing, assisting them with TDOT programs as they have need as well.
Yeah, Mark, can you talk a little more about like how you guys could assist highway departments in areas of like helping with planning maybe, or, do you guys work with them on road standards and things like that?
We do. We operate the rural planning organizations out of our operation, which is what's called an RPO process. And it is sort of the long range planning arm of TDOT. We bridge the local communities and governments to TDOT's long range planning. So we're constantly working on the 3 and 4 year list that the state has for projects. I was telling we got a new RPO planner the other day, and I told them we're going to talk about projects probably 10 years before anything ever happens for them, the way TDOT works. But we're sort of that bridge. So we work on safety issues, any type of grants. And that's one area we're starting to see highway superintendents use us in, that we have grant writing people on staff. And there are a lot of grants that the highway departments can go after. I don't know of any that can pave asphalt, but we can certainly buy equipment and those type of things, building improvements. So it's worth a while to take a look and see if you've got a project in a particular county that the highway department is looking to do, and it would pay ahead of time to take a look and see if there are possibly some grants that could supplement that and offset some of the local dollars.
And I will just say too, David, to Mark, what he's talking about when you talk about road standards, a lot of us do also staff the local planning commissions, and we assist with the subdivision regulations to make sure those road standards within their planning documents meet the requirements of the county highway superintendent.
And
I'll
just
put-
to add a little bit more to that too, and another thing that always seems to be a hot topic is solid waste. And our agencies work hand in hand with our counties and helping with those needs assessments and grant writing and contract. And in our case, we contract with most of our counties to do that for them. So I know that's probably a phone call that a lot of commissioners get to, some concerns about that.
You know, sometimes we're sort of the research arm. I find that we are in the Upper Cumberland, or I am. I was sort of joking, anytime there's any new technology to handle solid waste, whether it be some type of recycling program, incinerators, shredders, seems like we get sent on a task to sort of investigate it, see how it is, if it's really legit, and then bring some of that information back to the communities, which we're always glad to do. I mean, if
Yeah.
one community is looking at something that has a need, generally speaking, all of our counties have that same need. So we try and do a lot of information gathering and bring that information back to the mayors.
I'll throw one out there for you. As much as I worked with counties, I toured a new thing, which was the bioreactors that Sevier County has.
Mhm.
So they process a huge amount of their waste and turn it into compost.
Yep. They have a lot of food waste over there. That's what
Mhm.
makes that work. Where most communities fail to have that. So, but there is a lot of encouraging technology. You see, there's some companies that's looking, you know, tires. It seems like waste tires now. There are a few more options than we've had in the past, and gaining some ground there. Just on the landfill situation, there's some other technologies I know we've looked at the Upper Cumberland as far as shredding and turning waste into pellets, cutting out the liquid side of it, which looks promising. It's not there yet, but we're working on it.
Anything else you all want to share about the development district side before we shift over and talk some about human resource agencies?
I'm good. Unless anybody has any questions, we can do that.
I say either you can kind of raise your hand on here or pop in the chat, or and we can come back to those if we have anything show up. Yeah, what's interesting, so the state's divided up into the 9 regions that the development districts serve. Those same, I don't think there's any difference in the HRAs and development districts. So the same 9 regions, the state is also divided up into human resource agencies. Now in 7 of the 9, am I right about that? Or is there, they're different organizations, but
Correct.
Melinda and Mark on here today not only serve as the director of the development district, they've kind of merged the 2 organizations in their area. So that's Northwest Tennessee and then the Upper Cumberland area. So they're going to talk a little bit about human resource agencies and how those are slightly different. So, and Melinda, do you want me to share those slides? Oh, you're still muted right now, but.
Sorry about that. Yes, go ahead and pop those up. And I think it gets a little confusing when folks, especially in our area, they hear Northwest Tennessee and it all kind of starts blurring together exactly what that means. And with us being in the same office, it really does get a little confusing sometimes. But the development district really does a lot of planning that you've heard us talk about. And in a lot of cases, especially with the Area Agency on Aging and Disability, they want to get those services out into the community. So they contract with people to do that. So the Human Resource Agency side is really the contracting side of that's where we go out and we hire people to do the jobs that the state has allocated for us through grants or through the development district side. And that being things like your Meals on Wheels, your public transportation, those kind of things. But the screen that you're seeing now, we are the 9 the 9 districts across the state. So we are the exact same, but we just have different folks working. And you can see those phone numbers there. And David, if you'll just show that other screen for us, we can just kind of show you, this is our fact sheet, the Tennessee Association of Human Resource Agencies. This is our fact sheet for 2022. And it just, there too, like the development district, shows a little bit of what we've accomplished and what we've done. The commodities, we're all different, just like Chuck said earlier, all of our development districts do different things. All of our HRAs do different things as well. We don't have the commodities program. Mark, I think you do have the commodities program. And so he can talk about that a little bit. But we do have what we consider just helping folks across with their quality of life once again. Mark, I'll let you pitch in anytime to help us. Public transportation is one of our most visible, and especially in Northwest Tennessee. That's our rural service. It's out every day picking up and carrying folks, not only to the doctor and dialysis, but we try to take them grocery shopping and just do those other kind of services for them.
Or sort of touching on what Melinda said, when you look at the development districts, we're generally planning agencies. We're looking into the future, what needs to be done, 3 to 5, maybe 10 years down the road. The human resource agencies are more the social service provider side of it. They're dealing with the problems of today. So as she said, transportation, commodities, a lot of those different programs. We're working with the lower income to try and make sure they've got all the needs that they have. To make sure they're able to have a good life. So we're doing a lot of social service type programs. We do also do some more specific things, like public transportation. I know several of the human resource agencies do criminal justice based programs. We do probation type programs with the court systems. I know in the Upper Cumberland here, we've just created, as well as a lot of other HRAs and entities around, day reporting centers dealing with substance abuse. So on the human resource agency, while you might wonder why there's two different ones, one is looking into the future and the other is dealing with the problems of the day, is the best way I know how to say that. Now, Melinda and I are a little unique in that we both run both agencies. And I think it's unique, or probably more suiting for a rural region such as Northwest and the Upper Cumberland. I know that some of the other regions have talked to myself, and they probably have talked to Melinda as well, as could they do that same thing in some other areas? And it may work and it may not, but it does seem to work for Melinda's region and mine as well. It's a little different in that Melinda, if I'm correct, the Northwest has been combined since day one, since the very creation. So going back into late 60s, early 70s. The Upper Cumberland started 5 years ago after a turnover at the Human Resource Agency executive director position. The mayors at that time realized that it would make sense to put our two agencies together. And I will say it has thrived here in the Upper Cumberland, not just because I'm involved, but we've seen a lot of synergy that has come out of that. And both agencies are working hand in hand to tackle problems. So I think, generally speaking, I would speak on behalf of my other counterparts on here. Human resource agencies and development districts work hand in hand every day. They're providing entirely different services, but they work as closely as possible to make sure that we're taking care of the citizens in our region. We're sort of like, I know the mayors we have on the call here, they worry about their county and the services of their county. Well, we look that same approach from the Upper Cumberland. I'm not so much worried about the Northwest or the Southeast. I'm here to take care of the Upper Cumberland. I'm sure Chuck and Melinda would say the exact same thing.
Could either one of you talk some about the assistance to the elderly? And I'm looking like the types of, like the Meals on Wheels, those kinds of supports, but also under housing there. I know there's a lot of issues around housing insecurity or people wanting to stay in their homes as they age, some of the weatherization assistance or energy assistance, those types of programs.
I'll go ahead and kick off and I'll turn it over to one of them. There is a lot of programs to help seniors, especially those low income seniors that need help. There's a lot of different programs. The problem is any situation, there are far more needs than we have money and services to provide. But we can take care of about any need that somebody has. Between the two agencies, we can do energy assistance, helping on the electric bill. We can do home renovations to try and make them a more safe place to live. From our area agency planning side, and we do public conservator. And there are people that get to the end of their life and they have nobody to take care of them. And we have people that work with the court system to take care of that. So Chuck, Melinda, I'll take that.
If you don't mind, Mark is right. There are quite a few programs, and a lot of it, as he said, comes with a lot of restrictions, a lot of regulations, and a lot of red tape. But that's what we're here for. That's our specialty, is helping get through that. Just as you mentioned, David, people aging in place. It's cheaper to keep folks in their home than it is for them to go to a nursing home. So we help with the options, and with a relative caregiver, and with the Homemaker Programs to keep folks in their homes, help them get the services they need right there where they're comfortable, most comfortable. I like to tell, Mark mentioned lots of times we do research. I like to tell our mayors or our board that we're administrators, we're planners, we're social workers, we're all types of things, but at the end of the day, we're all linear waterfowl technicians. And if you don't know what a linear waterfowl technician is, I'm here to help you keep your ducks in a row. So.
The only thing I might add to that is because we're so involved with so many different programs, we serve on a lot of boards. Our staff serves on a lot of boards. We're attending a lot of networking meetings. So even though maybe our agency doesn't do something that can help that person, we have the knowledge, we have the contact base to go out and make those contacts. I mean, I will get a phone call, often about somebody that needs help, and maybe we can help, but I've got the contacts that I can put out there that by the end of 2 or 3 phone calls, we've got some things in place to help a person. And I just, I guess in our rural communities, we do work hand in hand with the HRA and the development district. And as you mentioned, the same board of directors serve on both of those boards. So our county mayors are very familiar with the services that we do, whether they're meeting at the same time or that same meeting. So, and I would just like to say to any county mayor that's on the call today or listens to this call, we thank you for serving on our board. It is sort of an obligation that when you wake up after your election, you find out that you are on several boards, and but we appreciate that, and the value you bring to us is very valuable. But it is something that we appreciate when you take the time to help us make our quorum for all those meetings and walk hand in hand with us in the decisions of your communities every day.
This one's going a little bit off the script, but this was an issue that someone reached out to me recently. We discussed it with a group of mayors here in Middle Tennessee, but I'm hearing that after we've come now out of the pandemic, TennCare is going through a total re-verification process of all their enrollees on TennCare. I don't know if Mark's nodding, so some of you may have heard about this. And as I'm understanding it, it's going to be going almost entirely online. And so an organization's reached out to us about, could we work through the counties to get word out to people, maybe through the health departments, and provide opportunities. Didn't know if that's anything that you all have discussed or heard anything about.
Yeah, one of the programs we operate, now it's not TennCare, but we operate the SHIP program for the state of Tennessee, so state health insurance program, where we help on the Medicare Part D, helping seniors understand what plan is best. So we have a lot of employees that are very knowledgeable of Medicaid, Medicare, TennCare, and that is looking to be a very difficult process that TennCare is getting ready to go through. And I understand they need to do it, and it is needed. I mean, from our standpoint, we're going to do anything we can. We're already helping citizens get online, log into things, even beyond what we do as a program. And I'm sure Chuck and Melinda do the exact same thing. Most of our employees are very well trained, and we look at our clients holistically, and we realize that we may have 3 or 4 programs that they're a part of, but there's other programs that need help. They need help with as well, and we're always more than willing to help them get the enrollments that they need.
Yes.
And advertise. We advertise through the public transportation. I don't know if Melinda does that, but We post all kinds of things on public transportation about changes in TennCare and changes in Medicaid and Medicare that the clients need to know, because it's a place where they come in contact with that information.
I do too.
And I think you've mentioned public transportation. The mayor's probably going to be familiar with this, but for some of those commissioners and others that are on here, I mean, that if you're out there and you see those regional buses that are the kind of thing that are taking people from the 2 or 3 counties out into jobs in Nashville or into Memphis or into different places like that's y'all's, well, it's the HRAs are the ones that are running those types of area regional transit buses, I guess you'd want to call them.
Yeah. And that I might touch on that because that's a very good point, and we should have done this from the very beginning. A lot of what the development districts and human resource agents do is operate programs with economy of scales for the county. So the public transportation, you're exactly right. It belongs to the 14 counties of the Upper Cumberland, as Melinda has for her communities, and Chuck is. It just doesn't make sense for all 14 of my counties to have a bus garage and an overhead, the administrative side of running a public transportation system. So we do that at a regional basis on behalf of all the counties. And we do that for a number of different programs that just doesn't make sense to divide that out by all 14 or 16 or how many counties are in the regions.
Sure, and even like I could see if you had to have like Fentress County is trying to get into Putnam County, and are they going to take one bus in Fentress County and then get on another one, at the county line and keep hopping off? So yeah, we've got it. Looks like it's something in the chat. Let me see what. Well, as always, Mayor Brooks, 7 to leave us. It's always something. Their boiler went down there, so appreciate you being with us today, Joe. Any questions anybody else has about these organizations? I said we wanted to make sure, we know county officials and commissioners and highway officials and all are getting calls all the time. You're elected leaders in your community, so people turn to you all for help when, as Melinda mentioned, there's a senior that they're worried about in their neighborhood, or there's somebody that needs some assistance. So I said we wanted to give some time to help educate everyone about what development districts and human resource agencies both do across the state. I think, Mark, that was a good description. It's you all are kind of like that extension of, in a lot of ways, an extension of local government, that you're helping provide those services across boundary lines throughout a region. So
yeah.
And I'll just add, as far as I go, I'll be glad to come out to any county commission meeting. If anybody ever needs us, we're always willing to do that. I know most county commission meetings like to be very timely and prompt, but I'm willing, and I think I can speak for all of us. We're here for you, and we'd love to attend those meetings and have a few minutes if you'd give it to us.
I'm a reformed county finance director. I always enjoy getting back out and experiencing the county commission meetings. Makes me appreciate my job even more.
Oh yes, me too.
yeah, I think somebody posted on here that they are having to leave, but would like to get copies of the documents. We will post those. We'll post this video once it's kind of completed and uploaded, and we'll also make sure we've got links to the documents out there. So
okay. All right. Well, thank you for having us, David.
Absolutely. Appreciate you joining in and spending a little time with us on a Thursday afternoon. So everybody stay safe out there and enjoy this strangely cold winter weather. I guess this is dogwood winter visiting us here in March, but good to see you all, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.